What's up, Ham Fam? Today's episode is brought to you by Tiger Milk. Tiger Milk. Tiger Milk, a creative studio and print shop that partners with local artists and brands, providing creative consulting, branding, and merchandise. So if you want to bring your creativity to life, hit up Tiger Milk on Instagram at @tgr.mlk and slide right into their DMs. So for those of you who don't know and you're just tuning in, we are Har and Jizzy, and we're just two moms on a mission to create a safe space for other moms and dads, or anyone really, to share the honesty and realness that comes with parenthood while being able to laugh at yourself. Because if you can't do that, you can't do anything. And as usual, I am joined by my lovely co-host, Harleen.
Anyways, thank you, Jizzy, for the amazing introduction. And holy crap, it's mid-March already.
It's been a while, actually.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We missed you guys. We missed being here.
We missed being what is it? The cream,
2 chocolate cookies and AJ's the cream to our Oreo.
We've been missing our cream to our Oreo. We're still in a pandemic. And it's been quite a year for Ham, despite of the pandemic. I know that it's like, you guys are always so positive. We do have our, bad moments. But we just finished hosting an event called She for International Women's Day.
Yes.
Called She, See Her Empowered. Super amazing. And our production team did such an amazing job. Yeah. So we want to thank all those who tuned in, and a shout out
to CNC.
Yes. And more future collaborations.
Yes. CNC Event Design. Check them out, you guys.
Yeah. And also, we had an incredible lineup. We wanted to ensure that everybody related to someone or connected with a particular woman who was on the show. So for those who have missed it, to check out our YouTube, it is up. So don't forget to subscribe so y'all don't miss all the action, because there's so much things coming from Ham. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. I don't know if anybody knows this, but we're on Buy Me a Coffee. So if you like the content that you see, click on the link below, and it will show you how you can support your girls and bring you more amazing and inspiring content and guests. So without further ado, we want to introduce our next guest. Growing up, some of us dreamed to be princesses. I don't know if I did, but I still think I'm a princess. Or be part of something magical. Well, this mama did, and more.
Yes, so she is a mother to a 1.5-year-old toddler named Joseph, or Joey, and she instantly fell in love when she put her first pair of ice skates on. She became a professional figure skater and competed in various competitions. And if you don't think that's impressive, let's talk about Frozen, the movie, okay, which is what Ava was all about the first 3 years of her life. How cool is it to say that someone like her kid can say, my mom was part of Disney on Ice on Frozen, and she's been on Disney on Ice for 3 years, where she was blessed with her son Joey, and since then she's been navigating her way through motherhood, finding her purpose and helping others mentally and physically. So let's welcome Brianne Mass.
Yay, welcome.
Hi, Brianne.
It's been we have been trying to get you here for like 2 months.
Yes.
So it's great. Thank you so much for being here. And I feel like I don't have a leg to stand on. Disney on Ice, being a mom, being casted on there, we hail and bow down to you.
Yeah.
Since you put on your first pair of skates, you fell in love with figure skating. At what age did you start competing competitively?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, because that was quite the introduction. I am just sitting and enjoying this. I could just have popcorn. That was fantastic. Thank you. That was awesome. What age did I start? Was I competitive? Well, like I said, started skating at 7.
Yeah.
And then very quickly, I progressed, and I just, like you said, I really did fall in love with it. And I think it was very shortly after that. I believe I was 10 that I started doing competitions, and then realized that I wanted to take it competitively, because I was very competitive with myself, and I just wanted to land more jumps. And I noticed that it was coming easier to me. Mm-hmm. And so that made myself, I guess, wanting even more to see, okay, well, this is coming along pretty well for me, so how far can I take this? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to just challenge that to the extent.
Yeah. And so how old were you when you found out you were expecting?
I was 20.
And you were still touring with Disney on Ice at the time?
Yes, yeah, I was. Yeah, I was actually, it was during a show.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I gotta find out. Like, I'm not a patient person. So,
Neither am I.
yeah, I was like, I need to know now. And it was actually in intermission of a show.
Oh my
And I
God.
was like, I just can't, like, if it gets in my head about anything, I need to know. So,
Yeah.
Well, then you had to perform with that on your mind. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you had wanted to get that out of the way.
Totally. So, yeah, it was intermission. It was a 20-minute intermission.
Hold on.
and-
Were you like, intermission, take my skates off, hold on, let me get a pregnancy? Like, did you go to the drugstore? Did you have it? Like, how did you know or have the inkling feeling that you could be pregnant?
Yeah, I'm very in touch with my body.
Yeah.
I've always been into spiritualness, I think, and just being in touch with myself and my core and what's going on with me. And if I'm a little off-centered, even mentally or physically, I'll kind of figure it out right away.
Yeah.
So I had just a feeling, like just this feeling of like something's different. And so I think it was a little blurry now, but I think it would have been a couple days prior that I just passed it in the grocery store or something. And I'm like, I should just pick it up in case.
Wow.
Like, just in
Wow.
case. I didn't even think I was going to take it. And then a couple days I was like, I got to take it. So
I might make an inappropriate comment, but I mean,
here
I
we go.
always do. But Elsa was legit getting busy. I'm just kidding. So horrible. Don't let your kids watch this.
Well, that's good for you that you were so tuned in with your body. Because for me, I was so in denial about everything. And every time I talked about what I was feeling and on all my symptoms, everyone's like, dude, you're pregnant. I was like, no, I'm fucking not. Stop it. And, I would get so defensive. I'm like, stop saying that. You're going to jinx it. But I was.
yeah.
And I was so out of touch with it. And even when my water broke, everyone's like, maybe you should go to the hospital. I'm like, no.
I'm not pregnant, okay?
Still
I'm
not
like,
pregnant.
my water broke, but I'm like a month early. Like, there's no way, right?
Yeah.
So I went to work with my water broken and everything.
Oh,
so,
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and even my best friends are like, you're in denial a lot. Like, you don't really listen to your body, do you? I'm like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So you took the test
yeah.
and it came positive.
Yeah.
Then you had to get back on ice.
Mhm.
One, what was going through your mind as you're skating? Two, after the show was done, what transpired? Like, what happened?
Yeah. Well, I had seen that it was a yes, and it was like digital with a smiley face, like, bam. It was no question. I'm like, okay. So I pretty much was like, all right. Like, I don't think it sunk in. I think I had the information I was craving. Like, am I or am I not?
Yeah.
And once I had that information, it was just, there was nothing really to do or think of because I had the rest of the show to do still. So it was just, okay, here's this information, put on my skates, get the costume back on, and then I kind of just put it to the side until the end of the show and then called my mom and freaked out.
Who are you playing, by the way? I'm just trying to paint this picture in my head.
Totally. I was with the ensemble. So I was in 5 different numbers throughout the show. The show was about 2 hours long. I was part of the coronation. I was coronation guest for those who know Frozen. Coronation guest. I was in the in summer scene with Olaf, which was very exciting. And I was a part of the fish family, which is very fun. Lots of costumes, lots of big costumes. You can see me in the Trolls. Not currently, but in past videos for those that are like, oh, Frozen's back up. Not quite yet. But anyway, but yes. So lots of big costumes, lots of different numbers. Got to understudy Teen Anna. So that was really fun.
Cool.
And to get into like a more emotional kind of role was really exciting and more where I think I kind of proved myself a little bit because I'm very emotional kind of person. So yeah.
Wow, I cannot wait to tell Ava that I talked to Anna.
Yeah.
Because I was telling Brianne that I took Ava to Disney on Ice. But we didn't see you, unfortunately, because you were touring the States, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So when you found out you were pregnant, when did you tell Disney I'm pregnant?
Right.
Or did they find out? It's like, what is that?
Yeah. So like I was very confused on how to go about it. It was a shock. It was not planned. At that time, I had the full intention of being with Disney on Ice for years and years. It was my dream job, and I worked up to it since I was 7, basically, and I finally got it.
Yeah.
And it was only the next year, which was we were supposed to be touring Europe, and which they went on and they went to go do, but finding out I was pregnant the year before obviously meant I wasn't going to be able to do like my destination goal with Disney, which was Europe. So I was confused on what to do. I knew that there was options, but I never thought that I would actually be in the position that I would have to consider any options. So I was very confused, to say the least. We ended up having a 2-week break after I found out. And so I went back home and I was with my family, and they were very supportive, which was amazing. And then we went back to Mexico 2 weeks later when we were kind of coming back into it. And I had made the decision by that point that I was going to go through with it, and I would be a mom in the next year. And so at the time, however, I was very stressed about my situation.
Yeah.
When I get stressed, I stop eating. I totally stop eating. I don't have an appetite. So I actually dropped quite a bit of weight. And with Disney on Ice, you are required to have once every 2 weeks, you're supposed to have weigh-ins, and you're contracted to the weight that you were basically when you auditioned. So, and that was, I don't know, I'm comfortable explaining my weight at the time, but I believe 130 or something, or around there, and I'd fluctuated around 135. That was my consistent weight, but when I got really stressed, I was dropping down to like 124.
And this is when you were pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, I found out pretty early. I found out like first 2 weeks of the pregnancy. So it wasn't like baby was growing and I was still dropping at that time, but it was enough that the performance director noticed when he was taking down the weight during weigh-ins, and he noticed like, okay, she is dropping a lot of weight, and my energy had also completely vanished through the shows, and it was pretty noticeable. Even my facial expressions just wasn't quite performing material.
Yeah.
So he had pulled me aside to the office and was like, what's going on? Like, what is it? And you know when you're holding something in, when someone addresses it, you just start bawling?
Yeah.
Like, so he had addressed it. Again, it's one of those moments where it was right before a show. He's like, Brianne, come on over to the office. And I kind of knew what he was going to talk about. And he just basically said, what's going on? I knew it was because of the weight that I was. And I just started bawling. And I was like, well, like, I'm pregnant and I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And everything in my life was a question. My identity, I didn't know what my identity was going to be besides being a mom. Like, who am I now? Like, you know, am I going to live to be a stereotype? Or, you know, like you go on the road, be your dream, and then get pregnant and then get off. Like, you hear about that quite a bit. So he found out that way. A couple of weeks later, I decided to go home because I got sick really fast.
Yeah.
So I got that morning sickness, and it just wasn't something that was realistic to have, being on the road and traveling to a different city every week.
Oh, yeah.
So, I went home shortly after.
So when you told him then, what was his initial reaction? Like, did he say, well, you're pregnant, we gotta cut this short, sorry? Or like, was he very supportive, or what was his reaction?
Initially, when I first told him, he was quiet. He is a man of few words when it comes to professionalism. But when he has his statements, he has his statements. But at that time, he was very understanding and just, okay, like, just go out, have a great show. It's like I just told him everything. He didn't need to say anything. It was just like, okay, like, all right, you go have the show you have. And if you need me, I'm here after. But now it's showtime, and I just needed to check in on you.
Yeah.
So, he didn't say much. I think once I told him, he was like, oh, okay. Like,
Did you feel relieved after you told them?
I think yes and no. I think I say no because once I told them, it actually made me more scared because it made it more real.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about something in your head and you almost don't want to say it because then it's a statement. And if it's a statement, then that means it's real. And so, which I knew it was very real, but actually telling the performance director, the one who is in charge of my employment, of my dream job,
Yeah.
it really made it like, okay, that's my decision. And it's my life is on the line. So it made it more scary, but it was also relief because it's also telling the truth is never a scary thing. So it contradicts each other, but they're both true statements, you know? So it did feel good because I was able to be honest.
Yeah. So after you had told the performance director, people probably found out really quickly, real fast.
Yeah.
Did you get comments? Did people say hurtful things? Did you get shamed like, oh, there goes another statistic, or there goes another young mom and she's ruined her life because here's your dream job at Disney on Ice and you're throwing it away? Like,
yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think I'm proud of how I went about it because I was able to do my research, and I did actually find other people who decided to maybe take the abortion route, and I was able to hear them out on their stories about it. And some of them were very compassionate towards me. However, when I did let that piece of information out, big piece of information to some of the other people who I thought were close to me, and their immediate reactions were like just almost disappointment. Like, oh, you had such potential. Like, and it was like, oh, no, that's not a good feeling. Because it's like, you still have that potential. It's not like that's just gone.
Right.
it's just pause for a second.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think some of the reactions made it seem like you're done. Like, you're just done. Oh, your life is ruined. Like,
Yeah.
And I think, and that was some of the reactions was, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, well, at least you're going to be a mom now. And it's like, oh, it's like, I don't even know what to say to that. Like,
Right.
okay, that's something I'll need to process. Like, you know, so.
For sure. So that must have been really hard to hear because,
Yeah.
like you said, you're this new mom. You're trying to figure out who you are, what your purpose is in life, and then there's people who are just kind of like making these snarky remarks. So,
Yeah.
you know, that couldn't have been easy. So, like, there's always going to be people who think that having a child so young means like your life is over. Like, what do you want to tell people who think that?
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, I'm very passionate about this topic because of going through the hardships that I did go through with this. And I went through it in every moment in a very real, raw, just consciousness. And what I mean by that is just really being in the moment and just feeling everything that comes with going through this. But like, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I feel as though I see the light. I'm with the light at this point after having Joey, and, you know, he's 1.5 years. And looking back, I can say to maybe other people who may feel this or are going through this, that all it does is build more to who you already are.
Yeah.
Like, you are everything you are before having a baby, but now you're more. And so none of that leaves. You can choose how you want to go about it. In some cases, it might be harder, right? Because in my, I guess, scenario, I did decide to go back to on the road because I knew my potential wasn't done. And I needed to prove that to myself more than anything, that, yes, I have a baby and I am a mom and I can still do this.
Yes.
So it can be harder depending on what you decide to do, but even if it's harder and even if you are consistent with that and consistent with the dedication, it'll just build more even into your character. So, you know, now you've got all of the potential you already had. Now you're a mom and you have the strengths of everything that comes with being a mom or a dad, right?
Yeah.
And now you're building onto your character with some tears, more tears, but it's all worth it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I love that. I love that you think that way. A lot of people, like, a common theme that we always talk about, her and I, and even on the show, is just like finding yourself and how hard it is to find yourself when you're trying to navigate motherhood. Because both of us had unplanned pregnancies.
Yeah.
And so we had to go through the whole motions of who am I? What's my purpose? I'm a mom now. And like, you know, you kind of lose yourself sometimes.
For sure.
And, you know, so the fact that you're thinking that way and it's just so forward thinking, that's really good.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was actually, we were thinking the same thing because for both of us, I literally lost my entire identity, but only to realize probably recent, like in the last couple of years, it's like, I am who I am. I've never, like, I'm just getting better.
Yeah.
but I lost who I was. And it's always been there. It's not just, oh, you're going to be a mom. Like, that's probably like the worst thing. It's like, well, all this didn't happen, but you're going to be a mom. Like, it's almost condescending. And that's why I did this whole thing in the back. And I was like, you nailed it in the head.
Right.
So, okay. So you had mentioned, you know, like you researched and this whole entire abortion thing. What swayed you not to go that route?
Yeah. Well, like, I do want to say I'm pro-choice. Whatever anybody want to do for themselves, pro for it. Like, I just want what's best for that person. And I think in that way, almost, it made it difficult for me because I really encourage people to do what's best for them. And if that means other people need to have an abortion, I'm fully with it. Like, I will say that. And I think when it came to asking that question for myself, I just didn't feel right about it. But then I was like, well, I'm okay with other people. It was just confusing for myself. So I think really going through those steps and figuring out, is this the right thing for me? And I knew that I would be able to take it. And the other part of it, I think why I decided to not do it is I always have been a nurturing person, and I've always loved babies. Like, and I just always knew I was going to be a mother, and I knew that I might have been a young mother as well. And I did actually want to be a young mom. I didn't think I was going to be 20, but I did want actually to be that young mom, and for many reasons, and to have energy with my kids, and lots of reasons go with that. But I think because I already had that pre-notion of maybe perhaps wanting to be a young mom, I just put it in my head like, okay, well, this is younger than I thought, but like, I can do it.
What age is a young mom? I'm just
curious.
And
really, exactly, because who really knows?
It's different nowadays.
It's different every 10 years.
Yeah.
So like, that's why it's always changing, really.
I find that when I had my son, I felt like I was a young mom. I was 24.
Yeah.
That was young. I wasn't fully, what is going on with my mic? I wasn't fully prepared to be a mom at 24. Like,
Yeah.
I know we had a conversation about like the whole, like when people say your life is over because you had a baby so young. So my question to that is, having a baby in your 20s, like I'm saying like early 20s, like 21, you're coming off from being an adolescent and you're going into adulthood, which you're trying to navigate who you are, and then throw in a kid. Do you think that it's a great choice? Not that I will judge people for it. You do what you want to do. But if you think about it logically, would you say it's kind of like maybe people should wait? I mean, yes, accidents happen, but some people actually do it.
Yeah.
Because they want to. But you haven't really discovered who you are. Maybe like with you, you are very self-aware, but there's some people that aren't self-aware, and it's like, maybe you shouldn't have kids in your 20s.
Yeah, totally. I completely understand what you're saying. It is a hard thing to, I think, really know because of the fact that no one's lived everybody's life. But I understand with what you're saying because there are people who maybe aren't in touch with themselves at all and are younger and are like, let's have a baby. And it could be for other reasons. Like, let's have a baby because it's going to bring the relationship better, or it's going to make our relationship better with whoever they're with. And
that never works, guys. Never.
Yeah. And in those situations, I will say, no. Don't do it.
It's a baby, not a Band-Aid.
Exactly. And that actually with your, with what you're saying, it does remind me of, I went to college. This is a little offside, but it's kind of the same relevance, I think. Like, when I went to college, I went directly after high school. And I can't remember who it was, but someone said to me, don't do it. Like, you just wait like a year or two to understand who you are outside of high school. Like, you're just getting out of high school. Like, please, you don't know what you actually want to do for the rest of your life. So
I
don't
wish
go
someone
to school
told
yet.
me that.
Yes. Well,
yeah.
And
for me, it was like, why would you want to take a break?
Yeah.
Or anybody where, like if someone says don't get pregnant at a young age, because that was like a common thing. Like we have this thing called debut.
Yeah.
It's a debutante's ball when Filipinos turn 18.
And the most common thing is when someone's wishing you something, and it happened to mine and it happened to hers, I'm pretty sure. Do not get pregnant and finish school, which is fine. Go finish school. But like, are you really wishing me like don't get pregnant? Like wish me something else.
Yeah, because then what if I do get pregnant? Then does that mean I disappoint you?
Yeah,
like
totally.
it was just, you know what I mean? It was kind
Just
of
for
like,
context though, like at the debutante's ball, they have these things called 18 candles. And there's 18 women in your life who are like, I guess, close to you or whatever. And they each wish you something. So yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, I wish you won't get pregnant.
And that's public. Right. They give a mic to them.
Okay,
it's like, what do you wish for the debutante?
There's 300 people that came to our debut, like whatever you want to call it. But 300 fucking people, you're telling me don't get pregnant. And it's just like, thank you for embarrassing me, first of all. But it's very common.
But it's my body. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's
do you even say thank you? Like,
no, we're just
no,
like,
you just move on.
Yeah.
It's like they say their wish and then you blow out the candle and move on. But,
oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
But back then, it's like you don't really know any better, and it's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like nowadays, because we're mindful, we're always talking about mindful parenting, is don't just say don't do this, but explain, you know. I was telling Giselle the other day, my son just got his learners. He's 15 now. And he's like, Mom, can I take the car? I'm going to go to AOJ. I'm just going to play basketball. I will bring the car back. I was like, first of all, you don't have your license, so no, you can't take the car out on your own. And then he kept nagging me why. So I finally was getting irritated, and I turned around and I looked at him. I said, you know what? It's just like having sex. You don't put on a condom, you put it in, and you get the girl pregnant. The one time that you did it, it's like driving.
Yeah.
So the one time that I let you do it and you get into a car accident, that's the one time. Yeah. And then he just got mortified. And he's like, why do you ruin everything?
Oh,
gross.
Yeah.
But I really want him to understand. It's like, I'm not just saying no for the sake of saying no, but I'm going to give you a zillion scenarios and choose one and think about it, reflect on it. And I feel like we didn't get that when we were growing up. And it's great that you're doing it with Joey, and we're in the process of trying to do that with our children.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, for sure.
So on that topic then, so what certain things have you struggled with in the past or are still struggling with as a young mom? Because Joey's only a year and a half and you're still just getting to the swing of things.
Totally,
So what are the things that are...
Yeah, well, like... I'm obviously not an expert. Like, I'm still at the beginning.
Oh, nobody is. You can have like 6 kids and not be an expert.
Exactly.
Even 15, still not an expert.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
No. Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing, you know, I have so much learning to do still. Like, I have so much that's going to come my way, and I don't even know, can't even expect it, you know. So, but I think currently, like, you're asking me what I'm kind of going through currently that is tough, or sorry,
Yeah.
Well, I think, honestly, something that I am trying to figure out is when it comes to disciplining in general with anybody, I have a hard time. I can hold my own ground. Like, I can hold my center and be like, don't treat me that way, you know, and I can hold that ground. But when it comes to anybody saying, can I please do this, but please. And I'm like, oh, fine. Like, I have a hard time saying, like, no, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's like holding that boundary. And I think it is a little bit tough because I'm trying to figure out, okay, how is this going to affect him in life? And I think a big thing that I'm reminding myself every day is, like, I am teaching him and I am parenting him, but it's teaching the future. It is, think about the future. You're raising the future, what you want the future to look like, because the kids are the future.
Yeah.
And I think I almost question everything I do too much, because it's like, how is this going to affect the future? And I almost narrow down too far, where it's, okay, if I'm to this, like, okay, how is that going to affect him when he's older? Well, is he going to become like really selfish? Or something that I do a lot, because I'm so in love with him, of course, is I buy him a lot of stuff. So
it's okay. It's
he gets
normal.
a new gift all the time.
It's normal.
Yeah, but I just it's selfish, really, because I see the joy on his face and I feel it. I can really
Wait
feel
a minute.
the joy.
Hold on. is it really selfish that you give your child whatever it is? Because I've been called out on that. That like my son's not gonna learn because I've given him everything, and I was so freaking offended.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't say that about my child because you don't even know my child.
That's a huge assumption to make.
Yeah, and it's just like, and then this person proceeded to just say that, well, this is when I grew up and this is how I had it. I said, yeah, but you were, you kind of,
Exactly.
like, you turned out kind of in a different way. And I honestly don't think my son is going to, but
Yeah.
I don't think you should judge a parent of the things that you're giving too much of. Like,
Right.
I made the decision of not having any more children as a single mom, so I can provide him everything that I could give him. I still, I'm not going to judge you if you just give the basic necessity. That's to you. So I feel like, I don't think you should be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's what do we call it? Like, what we say is don't raise a little asshole. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's just the biggest thing. But
And I don't think that correlates to how many things they have materially, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. What was I going to say?
Well, I do have one thing that I think is important to touch on that, because I think you're totally right. Like, and I do believe there's a balance. Like, they can have these things, but what I'm trying to teach them, like I said, I think I mentioned this before, like, really having him understand his being self-awareness, because I know with me being self-aware, I hope and I try to be good at being grateful and being grateful for what I have, even just when it comes to the air that we breathe. And I kind of think of it as like, if you take everything away, all the materials, like literally everything, of course your phone, take it all away, TVs, and let's say that you're just in this room by yourself, and, going crazy being put aside, like, are you happy with who you are? And are you happy with the characteristics that you've brought from within yourself and that you've practiced on? And are you okay, really, essentially? Are you okay with what you've been through? Are you okay with how you've dealt with what you've been through? Or do you need your phone? Or do you find that you're going crazy because you don't want to look at yourself in the face? And I think that being in touch with that is something that I am prideful for, because it's helped me through a lot of my life, including the pregnancy and including being the mom and going through those things. And so that's something that I'm trying to teach Joey, and just even explaining to him emotions, and seeing and having experience with almost everybody, right? I'm sure has had that experience with toxic masculinity.
Oh,
Oh, God.
That's a huge thing
yes,
over
it's
here.
a huge thing,
So it's very important to me to teach Joey on a daily basis his emotions and what he feels like he's going through. So if he's having a temper tantrum, like you said earlier, I would never say, like, don't cry, or I would never say, your moms and myself, I get frustrated sometimes. I'm like, oh, but for the most part, exactly. And for the most part, like, I do sit, and it's, for me at least, it's important to be eye to eye level with him, so that he understands that we're on the same level. I'm not bigger or smaller than him. We're the same, even though I'm the parent.
Yeah.
And I'm connecting with him through his eyes and saying, you are angry, and that's okay. It's okay to be angry. Like, let's cry about it. And then just sitting there with him, and then he understands quicker that it's okay what he's feeling. And even though he's feeling bad, it's okay to feel bad, and that he can be supported in feeling bad, and not just, oh, he's having a temper tantrum, I'm going to put him in timeout and go away, because then
he doesn't understand
He
why.
doesn't get that, first of all, because of the age that he's at. And also, like, really, I feel, and no judgment for any other parent who's done it differently. It's just, I'm trying my best, and this is kind of the technique I'm going with currently. I mean, who knows, it might change next week, but like currently I do feel like if I were to do timeout, if that goes long term, I feel like I'm teaching him that when he's angry or upset or anything but happy, then mom doesn't want to be with him. Like, then I don't, then I'm,
it makes sense.
But I mean, like, I was in timeout and I'm fine. So, I don't know if I don't think there's a right and wrong. I just know that I'm trying to study and be the best for him, because being responsible for a whole other person is a big
It's
thing.
hard, man.
It's hard.
But I think too that they should really rename it. It's not a timeout per se. It's like just time for yourself to kind of just collect yourself. Because I know I send my daughter to timeout, but it's not to punish her. It's to be like, okay, you need to take a break. And a lot of things that when I was reading about it, because people are like, don't do timeouts or don't hit your kids, but hit your, you know what I mean? There's so many things that I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to do what's best for me. Yeah. But the best thing I read was, there's this thing called like a safe space. It's like you go to your safe space. And so I always tell my daughter, you know, do you need to take a deep breath? Like take a deep breath and then come back to me. And then when you're ready, we'll talk about it. And so, I think there's just a whole stigma around timeout because it's just like, go to your room or, you know, sit over there and think about what you've done. You know, it's nothing like that.
No,
right? And
exactly.
I think we're just trying to change that now.
For sure. And that's just it is different for everyone. Like timeout might work perfectly for some people.
Yeah.
And you just have to, and the thing with a lot of people with their own experiences, and the thing that I got, and I think everybody gets when they're newly pregnant or have a newborn, you know, people who have gone through it they're always explaining their own experiences, but do this,
advice.
Don't do this.
That's what it's called.
But that's just something that worked for them.
Right.
And that they figured out might be totally the opposite. So it's always just do what works best for you.
Yeah, and there's literally no shame. I know that I am reading this book called The Conscious Parent.
Right.
Shout out to Joe and Laura, they're our past guests, and I just didn't think I would read a book like that because I have a 15-year-old. But let me tell you, as much as it's a parenting book, it was really geared for my own self-awareness of how you parent your child. And I literally, every page that I turn, I'm getting my highlighter and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? This is what I'm doing. I didn't even realize that I'm projecting my emotions out to my child. And the one thing that the book had said was that, you know, love your child even when they are not perfect. Because that only portrays your own insecurities.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, because that's who I want. That's what I wanted and envisioned for what I want for his life.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't because that's maybe not what he wants. But as parents, we always want what's best for our kids. But sometimes we don't translate it to what is actually best for them because they know or you know what's best for you, not necessarily me for him.
Yep.
I'm
By
just
the way,
guiding.
Joe and Laura are awesome. They were on our show before. They founded Psyched About Kids.
Yeah.
And so they give a lot of really helpful parenting tips. So give them a follow, and you guys give them a follow if you haven't already. I've learned so much. I've even reached out to them after our show saying like, can you help me with this? And then they always have so much good things to say and such helpful things. And it's all about like the mindful parenting, like what you're portraying is mindful parenting, which is great because I feel like a lot of generations before us didn't really do that, you know?
No. Completely.
Because they had a different goal when coming here. Like we are first generation Filipino, so our parents are immigrants, and they came here with a completely different goal in mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Is to raise a family and provide.
Yeah.
But here we are trying to advocate for our kids, and we have a good over 10 years on you, and we are still trying.
You're so much more mature than we are.
Like we are still like if it makes you feel any better, we are still trying to figure shit out. Like you don't know how many times everybody is.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. And that's why we're trying to break the stigma of people who act like things are so easy.
Yeah.
It's not.
Guess what? They're not. And you're lying.
Oh, yes, you are.
I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about you going back to Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
When did you go back? How old was Joey when you went back to work?
Yes. Now, I had a false memory of this because I was corrected like yesterday on this. I thought originally it was like 5 weeks, but I guess it was like 8 weeks. Either way, a couple weeks difference. See, I still don't believe that, though. It was around 6-7 weeks.
Wait, you went back after 7 weeks?
I did. Yes, I did. I totally did.
Like, you weren't even done your postpartum. Like, how did you?
I wasn't even allowed to drive after 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you know, like I said before, it was something that I needed to prove to myself with everything that I went through during the pregnancy. And with the other end of, you know, just a little side note, within the pregnancy, I believe it was at my 20-week appointment that the doctor had told me that part of the placenta was not functioning. So that baby was not getting all the nutrients that he could, and that there was a possibility that his heart could stop beating, and I wouldn't find out until the next appointment. And I was like, well, how am I going to know? Like, you know, there's weeks between these appointments. How am I going to know if he's there? Like, and I just remember this moment. The doctor was like, you won't. Like, you just won't know until your next ultrasound.
That's nerve-wracking as fuck.
Yes. And I went into an emergency therapy session a couple hours later, freaking out, not knowing. And so with that in mind, through my pregnancy, I was like just on the couch and not moving because I was so scared that if I were to make a jump or go down the stairs too fast or bump my belly a little too hard, that something would knock out of place or something. And so I really was so cautious about the whole thing. And so I really was just on the couch throughout the rest of it and not moving. And so,
that was your choice. It wasn't like the doctor was like, you know, you're on bed rest.
That's the thing is the doctor didn't say bed rest.
Yeah.
He mentioned this to be more something that's just out of my control. Like, this is out of your control. This could or could not happen. But we wouldn't recommend you to do any big movements. Like, you should probably...
Like, don't do a triple axel.
Yeah, like, keep
like
it
that.
easy. Like, don't go on the ice, right? I'm like, well, can I, like, jog? And, you know, the answer would... It was kind of gray because it wasn't like yes or no. It was just use your, you know...
Best
use your
judgment.
mind. Yeah, judgment. So, of course, I'm just like, well, I'm just going to be on the couch, like, because I didn't want to do anything. If something were to happen, I would think about that one time that I did that one thing and thought it was okay. So yeah, I just was on the couch the whole time. And that being said, that's what made me even more, I think, determined to go back because I mean, I completely fell out of shape, of course. And again, talking about identity, I'd always identified myself to be a very fit person and a very competitive person, whether that be on the ice or in the gym. And I even, you know, explained it to people like, hi, I'm Brianne, I'm a figure skater. Like, it was just the thing that came after my name.
Yeah.
So just being so closely identified with that, I just needed to prove that I can go through this and do that as well. So going back those weeks later, it was tough, but it was something that I think built my character, working for it and eventually getting there. So yeah.
Well,
I'm not sure if that was your question.
No. One, good for you.
Oh, thank you.
And two, did you get shamed or criticized for going back too early, leaving your 5 to 8 week baby? Like, they'll be like, you're so selfish. You had this baby, now you want to go chase your dream. Like, did anybody say that to you?
Totally. I was very excited to go back because this job has always held a special place in my heart and always will. So I was very excited to go back and see everybody because the people that were there were a part of the special place that I hold in my heart. Yeah. So I hold those people to a standard as well. And I support them from afar, even during the pregnancy. So going back, being excited and like, hey, guys, like, I'm here and whatever. Like, there was a huge shift. There was a huge shift with my peers, I guess. I got a lot of just what you said, which was, what are you doing here? Like, what? Like, you have a kid. Like, you're missing out on, like, why are you here? Like, didn't you just have a baby? Where's your baby? Like, or do you even know who your baby's with? Like, is your baby with your parent? And I'm like, he's with my parents. It's none of your business. But, you know, and there's a lot of just instant judgment. Just 100% instant judgment. And the thing is I did work hard to get there. And yes, it was hard to leave Joey. It's not that it wasn't difficult. And I think when I said to people, even before I left, like, oh, I'm going to go back on the road, I had a lot of confused faces. Like, what? You're going to go back? And where's your baby going to, how can you leave your baby? And that was the biggest thing, was how can you leave your baby after just, and I think because I had in my mind the second I got pregnant, like, okay, I'm not done though. Like, this isn't how I'm going to want to say goodbye.
Totally fair, yeah.
And I can't, I have one life that I know of, and I can't just let this be because this is such a peak for me. I can't just let it be without having the goodbye I want or in the way I want. So I knew right from when I saw the pregnancy stick, like, I don't care, this isn't done. I can do this and this at the same time.
Yeah.
So having that mindset going through the whole pregnancy, knowing that I was going to leave, changed, of course, everything. Yep. If it was just a situation where I got offered a contract and I wasn't prepared, I probably wouldn't have been able to go.
Yeah.
But with that, I was able to go and it was great. And I did the therapy that I needed to develop those coping mechanisms so that when I did really miss Joey or I wasn't sure what to do, I could rely on those tools to do them.
Yeah.
But basically, back to your question, like when I was excited, I would be going out with people and those questions were, how can you leave your baby? And I just wasn't sure how to take that. And I think that really just brought me down a lot. Not to mention, after having Joey, I went back working out right away. Like the day or 2 days later, I went back to the gym.
Oh my God.
And I was, but not for me. I knew it was for the goal that I had in mind. I didn't care about going back to the gym. It was for the goal, and I knew that's what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So going back to the gym, going back on the ice, getting right back into those jumps, falling way sooner. You shouldn't be working out until 6 weeks after, right? And so, but there was judgment for that. I just was so determined. And so when I did every workout I could possibly do, I lost as much baby weight as I could possibly lose before going back. By the time I did go back, I was still carrying baby weight. And I one day was really missing Joey, and I was just looking for some sign of hope that I was there and it was validated by someone else that was there. Mm-hmm. So I went to my performance director and I asked him, like, okay, what can I do here? Like, I think I was looking for validation. Like, do you see potential in me? Can I do this and be with Joey? Because for me, it was, I'm going to need to do this, but my ultimate goal is I want to perform, but I want Joey to be with me. Mm-hmm. I just kind of thought that this was my lead way kind of thing. Yeah. So when I went into his office and I said, my ultimate goal is to be with Joey, but I need to maybe hear from you that I have the potential to do that and I can do this.
Yeah.
So that I can keep going in this and not just go home and be with Joey.
Yeah.
And his reaction to me was, it was tough to take in, because I remember he sat there and he kind of he validated the other side, which was, yes, you are missing a lot of special moments with your son, and I don't know why you're here. And it was just like, and there's the moment where it wasn't what I was asking for. It was completely off topic. And he had said, like, be honest with me. And it was a moment. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, yes, I will. Like, I'm always honest, but okay. Mm-hmm. And he had said, did you really work out after? Like, did you really go back on the ice after having a baby? And he kind of looked at me up and down, and it's to say, like, he doesn't see it, right? And he just kind of mentioned that I'm not obviously not the same as I was before having Joey. And it was just heart-wrenching. I don't even think I realized in the moment the impact of his words, the weight of what his words just held. I think I was just like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Can I just be reminded that this is a man speaking?
Yeah. And I had just been like,
your body doesn't go back to the way it used to.
Right.
Ever.
Right. Exactly.
Ever.
Exactly. And that was another thing I was struggling with. It was an insecurity because obviously my body was different than the rest of the performers that were there. And so even during rehearsals, I was already comparing myself. I was already doing the work that he had brought to my face.
You had worked your ass off.
Yeah. 2 days after having a baby, you were putting skates in the gym. I didn't even put on running shoes after a whole year.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's fair. Like, I probably wouldn't have either if it wasn't for this. But I just remember in the moment, I didn't even really understand what he just said, because I don't think I could believe that he said that, but I just remember I was angry and I was just like, yes, I did. And I was like, actually, I did it so much that I injured my body. Like, I was just so sassy.
Yeah.
And he came back off right away, and he was like, oh, okay. Well, okay, just wondering. And he just basically validated that I wouldn't have the potential anymore after having a baby to do what I wanted to do.
But do you still believe that you didn't have potential? If you were to put skates on right now, Joey's a year and a half, can you honestly sit here and tell us that you don't have the potential to do it right now?
I totally do. Like,
there
I 100% do.
So it didn't even really matter.
It didn't. It totally didn't.
Oh, I'm so mad. I want to jump out of my chair and be like, you try having a baby.
Right.
I know.
So what happened then? Like, when you went back, did they, like, not cast you, or did they just maybe lessen your roles, or like how did you come back and what did it look like when you did?
Yeah, well, when I did come back, they did lessen my roles. They kind of changed my track to they put me in a fat suit.
Oh,
So I was in a fat suit afterwards, which was disappointing.
Wait a second. They put you in you went from Anna to a fat suit.
Well, it was this girl. Okay, well, I had to wear a fat suit to be this character, but yeah.
But you had never been casted that role before.
No.
Because you weren't. Okay, so wow. Okay, so you have a son, you have a daughter, and I have a son too. What does that say about Disney and how they're a big name? What does that say right now? I'm kind of trying to digest this of what we're telling our daughters and what we're teaching our son to be like, I don't know if I want to be with you because you got a little skin hanging or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you're teaching your daughter to be like the perfect, normal, beautiful, whatever Disney portrays it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
No hate on them. Like they make great things, but for someone who's like 5-10 pounds, you could still do the jumps. You could still fit in your clothes. There's just, a few modifications, but a fat suit was given to you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fathom that.
Yeah.
That's what's happening with like Disney.
Yeah. I was very hard for me to believe as well. I was very disappointed. I wasn't prepared for that, but I think I could understand it because potentially they didn't know. I don't know. Well, technically I was contracted to my weight and my look.
And I get it. I understand. I mean,
yeah, it's a tough, because when you can do it and you can fit into those costumes, it's hard to be set back when it's out of your control.
yeah.
But it's hard. It's a hard line because I can understand it in ways, because when I initially signed a contract, it's hard because those lines. Oh yeah. See, it is hard. It's hard to understand. It's just when it's a contract and you're just contracted to that, and obviously my weight had changed, and I think I technically breached the contract. Mm-hmm. So for that,
I get it.
Yeah, it still isn't right to that
But you know
degree,
what? It's almost like breaching. Like, hi, can you imagine if I because I consult for a living. If I hired you and I put in your contract, if you get pregnant, XYZ, you're breaching your contract. It's almost like that, and I understand the look and everything that you're signing off to, but. Yeah. It's almost like you're telling the women, men are excluded from this, the women, that you can't have a baby because here's your dream job. Do you want to lose it because X, Y, like.
Totally.
Like, what is that teaching our future generations?
Yeah,
really?
exactly. Totally.
And it's like, and it's Disney, Disney tries to be all inclusive. Like, they got so many different like races now that they're covering in their Disney movies. But then it's like, oh, but you can't gain weight or you can't play Anna. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's mind boggling. And it's really sad. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
Okay.
You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
You look like you didn't have a baby. Like, seriously, I saw your picture and when we had the conversation, I said, did somebody just fat shame this girl?
I know.
Because I look like a whale then.
If someone is fat shaming you, I'm just like, girl,
I was like, it just made me self-conscious about myself.
And that's so bad.
And
right?
no one's even
don't.
shaming me. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
they think Brianne's not fit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then what the fuck am I?
Don't do that
It's
to yourself.
crazy. Well, that's the problem.
Yeah,
That's
that is
the
the
problem. It's
Yeah,
like
that's the problem.
if someone's saying that you don't look great, and I'm thinking, I'm okay with myself, and then I look at you and I just think you're like this beautiful woman, I'm like, oh well,
No.
I'm just not, and it plays off.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then imagine how that makes kids feel, right?
Totally.
So, I'm really sorry you had to go through that. But the good news is, you're not just a mom.
Yeah.
And so what's going on for you now at this moment?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question, because I'm trying to figure that out, actually. To speak on that, I'm in the middle of reading this book that's called Ego is the Enemy. It's my second time reading it. It's amazing. Teaches you a lot about your ego, which one would think that it's just your ego, like your selfishness or whatever it is, right? It's so much more than that. It's your decisions. Read the book. I can't explain it all right now, but basically right now it's talking about something that I am trying to figure out, and that is what's my purpose. And going forward, like I am a fitness coach, group fitness. I work for Orange Theory.
Nice.
Which is amazing, and I love the energy, and I just love to help people. But I think I am trying to find a bigger thing to be a part of, and I think I do want to make an impact when I leave eventually in the world. I want to know that I did something, that I made some kind of impact. So I'm figuring out at the moment that there is a difference between passion and purpose. And I always feel like I've led with what's my passion. Like, I'm going to do what my passion is, right? And I think I've figured out that my passion is something I do for me. Like figure skating, that's something I do for me, but it's not my purpose. And trying to understand, like, okay, what's my purpose? Like, what is that? And then, you know, honestly, it was literally 4 days ago that I went walking along like the Cranston River trying to find my purpose. I'm like, what is it? What do I have to do? What is my purpose in this world?
Yeah.
And I came to realize, this is recent, of course, that purpose is something that you already have. It's not something that you need to go look for. It's already in you. It's in you since you were born. And it's just what I believe in anyway. And I think that you can live your purpose by doing basic things on a daily basis, like going and picking Starbucks up. Like you can live your purpose and do it purposely, which means do it with reason, or you know, do it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But do it purposefully. And, you know, when you pick up the drink, like you are bringing who you are and your purpose towards that lady, whoever is giving it to you. It's not just, okay, thanks, bye. Like whatever, even though that's fine, it's almost on a deeper level. I'm kind of coming to the understanding that I can live in my purpose every single day and make an impact just giving someone coffee and being with them in that moment. And I think that I have an ability to really understand people through their energy. Yeah. Just really connect with people. And I feel like I have an ability to really feel what someone has gone through just based off their body language, their eyes.
So you're somewhat of an empath.
For sure, an empath, absolutely. And I think that I can really help people feel not alone, and really just help people know that it's okay. And I understand, even if I haven't been through it, I do have the ability to feel it. And so I'm trying to find some kind of way I can help people with that. I think currently I'm thinking maybe helping maybe a teen pregnancy line. I know that there's some kind of line to help with young moms who are going through that. So maybe that, but honestly, I'm figuring
trying
it
to
out.
figure it out. Well, you have a 1.5-year-old,
exactly.
And so you're busy.
Yeah.
Would you say you are a Disney expert? Would you put that on your resume?
No.
So you don't know a lot about Disney?
Well, no. Like I really don't. I honestly don't. I have a confession. So I had 3 contracts with Frozen. And I didn't actually watch the movie Frozen until my second contract.
Okay.
Which is something that I shouldn't say.
That was the game that we wanted to play with you today.
Well, you know what? We're still going to do it.
We're going to ask you.
Let's do it.
Because if you don't, after this, you need to. Okay, I'm also guilty. I haven't watched Frozen.
Okay, that's
fine.
Okay,
but that's fine because
totally
you have
fine.
a 15-year-old son, and so what reason would you have to sit down and be like, let's watch Frozen?
Yeah, that's true. Like,
I know every word of the entire soundtrack, and that's because I have a daughter.
Okay, so if you don't know, she's gonna chime in.
Totally.
Okay? So finish this verse from Frozen.
Oh wait, no, this has to be sung.
I ain't singing this shit. Okay, sing it.
Maybe you sang it in production. Okay. This is a verse from one of the songs in Frozen. There's beauty and there's danger here. Split the ice apart. Beware the...
This is Frozen 2, I think?
No, it's not.
Oh, wait, am I supposed to finish the line?
Yes, what is it?
Ice Monster?
No.
Oh, okay, what is it?
I don't know.
Frozen Heart.
Okay, do I have to sing the rest of
I
it?
just sang. on this podcast. No one wants to hear my voice. What?
Okay, turn that because you have the answer. Which
Oh,
you should know.
okay.
Wait, I'm asking. Do I have to sing any more?
No, you don't.
Okay.
You don't.
Oh,
If she doesn't know, Giselle will finish it off. Okay. Okay, what name does Olaf call out when he's alone in the forest in Frozen 2?
Oh, jeez. Oh, Samantha.
Samantha. And then he goes, I don't even know a Samantha.
Yeah, that's so funny. I love that part.
Okay, so who helped young Anna recover from being hit by Elsa's powers?
Oh, yes, that is it's the troll. It's Grandpa Troll, right? Isn't it Grandpa Troll?
Oh, ask Giselle.
Close enough. Grandpappy.
Oh yeah, Grandpa. Yeah, that's right.
What's the name of the enormous icy snowman Elsa creates?
Isn't it Ice Monster? Did I say that? No, I know this. Oh my gosh, you guys, I had a scout clinic in this where I asked this question. Okay. Oh my gosh. Snowman? No. Snowman. Marshmallow.
Yes.
Good
Okay.
job.
So,
I
how did Anna and Elsa's parents die?
Oh, yeah.
So dark.
Yeah.
This Disney movie.
Weren't they? Oh, I don't want to say something that's darker than what it is.
No, say it.
Is it? Well, I don't.
Say whatever you're
Did they
thinking.
drown? Actually, did they drown?
Yeah, well, basically, yeah, shipwreck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I remember
How
that
many
last minute.
salad plates do Anna and Elsa own?
This is in the song.
Yeah, it is right.
How do you know all this?
Because I told you I know every word to the soundtrack because my daughter's a psycho.
I'm trying to. Okay, is it 18?
No.
Oh,
So the song goes, who knew we owned a
1,000.
salad plate?
Right, because I'm honestly what I'm doing is I'm actually doing the choreography
Oh.
to remember
That's
what
so
man.
funny.
Yeah.
So, which Disney princess is spotted attending Elsa's coronation?
Oh, Tangled woman. What's her name? Rapunzel.
Yes.
Okay, so if you could choose to be a Disney character, who would you choose and why?
Oh, okay. Yes, this is where I wish I was more educated on them, which I am, but it's been a while. Okay. Oh, honestly, I don't know if I'm just biased, but I think Elsa, actually. I do think Elsa because of how empowered she is and how when she realized who she is, she leads with it and she begins to help the citizens with it. And I think she's also very loving towards her sister Anna.
Yeah.
And I am a family girl myself, and I just think that would be great. And she can also sing, and I want to be able to sing, but I can't. So.
Honestly, though, like I love that answer because when I watched Frozen 1 and 2, I was like, I love that this story is not centered around trying to get the prince or like end up with a man. Like, spoiler alert, Elsa doesn't end up with anybody.
Oh,
but
interesting.
she discovers so much about herself and where she came from and her true purpose in life. And that's a great answer.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know, all the other Disney princesses are like, oh, she marries the prince or
who would you want? What character would you want if you could be any character?
Oh, right now I'd be Raya. I'm all about Raya and the Last Dragon right now. Maybe because my daughter watches it back to back to back to back every day.
Yep.
But it's such a good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Come over. We'll watch it. We'll get
I
drunk.
haven't watched a Disney film in a long time. Actually, funny story is my son was like, "What is that?" I think it was like Sausage Party. What was that movie?
Oh my God.
Okay, listen. Here's the story. My son and I, and this was a couple of years ago, I was like, hey, do you want to watch a movie? And he was like, yeah, can we watch Sausage Party? I'm like, yeah, no problem. I didn't fucking know what it was.
Yeah.
So I get on the chat group with my family and I was like, hey guys, Jade and I are watching a movie. We're going to watch Sausage Party. Do you guys want to like come and join us? And then I think it was her sister. She's like, wow, you're such a cool mom. So of course I'm like, yeah, oh, thanks, Chelsea. Like, yeah, I am a cool mom. And then no one says anything until somebody chimes in and was like, you do know that's rated R. I was like, what? And then one of my cousin was like, why did you fucking tell her? You should have just let her take Jaden there. And then she would have been like,
I think
what,
I remember that.
What is this?
Have
Do
you
remember
seen
that?
Sausage Party?
Yep.
So I watched it with my brother and my sister-in-law, and I was mortified. I was like, how does my son even know about this movie? But
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's so
okay.
funny because I'm pretty sure my parents put that on for the kids one time, not knowing what it was until someone was started saying like, "Hey, motherfuckers," and they're like, "What is this?" And they changed it. But yeah, that's hilarious.
That is funny.
Yeah. So we are almost out of time. But before we go, just want to remind everyone to click on the link below, wherever AJ or whoever, to buy your ham girls a coffee. It'll give you all the details on how you can support us. And, we're super thankful to all of our ham fam and all the supporters who, sends us messages. Again, if you want to see these contents and bring all these amazing guests in, it'll just show you how you can support us.
And thank you already to those who have already bought us a coffee.
Yeah, thank you
We
so
love
much.
You guys.
I have no words. So Brianne, again, thank you for taking the time to share your story because, wow. Hold on. Inspiring women to go and continuously chase their dreams. We wanted to ask you one last question. In the movie Frozen, they say, have courage. And Anna says, I'm trying to. What would you say if you were told, have courage? What would your answer be?
Yeah, good question. Have courage. I think that as long as you are following your gut, that is having courage. And I think that even if it contradicts your mind or your heart, but it's your intuition, and as long as you're following what you know to be true to who you are, I think that in itself is courage. Yeah.
Great answer. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Brianne. We learned so much about you today. So I know there's going to be hundreds out there who are going to listen to this, and you're probably going to make a difference in their lives. Because, I want to read all the books you're reading. I want to.
Well, if anybody wants to reach out to Brianne or ask her any questions that's, inspired you, or just whatever questions you have.
Yeah, we'll connect you.
We'll connect you. Or do you have any social media handles that you want to tell our guests?
Well, my Instagram name is thebrianne14, all lower cases. It's because I made it when I was 14. So
Oh, cute.
I was like, what should my Instagram? Anyway, so thebrianne14, and then just Brianne Mass is my name, and look me up, and that's pretty much it.
You guys, you'll find her. It's like literally all like Disney on Ice.
Oh, is it? I haven't Googled myself.
I Googled.
Oh, we did Google you.
We Googled.
Yeah,
you.
We Google
saw
everyone who
videos.
comes on this show.
We saw videos and you skating. Yeah.
So impressive.
Oh, jeez. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, you guys,
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much. Thank you. So that's it for us today, Ham Fam. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and just be kind to one another out there and be safe. Wash your hands, wear your masks, and at the end of the day, love yourself, even on the hardest days.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
With some bombs in the